before beginning the reinforcement bars lesson training, I will move to the library to explain you about the library. If somebody has the reinforcement bars add-on, he will see those three options for rebars and this table, rebar table specification. Okay, so let's begin to see this. Rebar data. This is a very simple table where you have the ability to define what types of structural elements you have, beams, columns, footings, slabs, etc. This is what I want you to translate. And Ronen, he's the best, I think.
Of course. I see.
Just 6 definitions. And in rebar types, to have that reinforcement bar, this one, for example, is a main bar. But there are some other bars that are auxiliary or additional. You can have all that also available. Okay. To define that a bar is a main bar or an additional or an auxiliary or whatever other thing the customer wants.
We can add everything. Oh,
of course. Rebar sizes. This is a table with all dimensions, diameters of rebars, and along with the weight per meter. Okay. Here also you can add, for example, this one does not exist in the default library, but D13 exists in Singapore. In Greece, we don't have that. I don't know if you have in Israel, but you can add also here more diameters. We have also, we support the imperial for the US market. Okay. This is quite simple. Okay. Let's move to the first and more important option, library shapes, where here we have a lot of predefined, prepared library shapes that can be used in projects. Actually, let me explain you the coding. B means beams. So you see the description. This is what we want Ronen to translate. Okay, because it's better to be translated by a structural engineer. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Okay,
of course,
you will say stuff that is not correct. Anyway, if you move down, we continue from B, several types of bars. B again. C means columns. This is for columns. F means footing. L means links, stirrups. It's something that is around a column, etc. Small diameter bars that are used to link together the main bars. Okay, around a column, for example, if you have the main bars, you need to attach them somehow before pouring the concrete in order to finish the building. Okay. Let's move down. S is for slabs. All that we have more than 150 prepared reinforcement shapes that are made by experienced structural engineers, and of course the customer can create his own as much as he wants. Okay, but I think it's almost everything is available. And the last thing is for walls, W. This is for concrete walls. Okay, so let's move up.
Is it, George, is it important coding? Maybe,
no.
Yes, this is stamp code. This is not, it doesn't important if we B or W or only for only for the
it's our coding. The customer can do whatever he likes. Okay, we just decided to organize actually one bar, this bar for example, can exist not only in beams. So you will see now, let me check. Here I have created some bars myself. Okay, let's open one of them. If you double click, you see the bar that I created. Okay, it's not prepared, so let me delete that. I don't want this. It's not correct. Let's see this one. Neither this is correct. Let's delete that. We will create more.
Okay.
Okay. Let's create a new one. I want to see. Okay, this is better. So here you have two tabs, calculations and structural elements. Here you will see the rebar data. You remember that we have beams, columns, etc. These are the structural elements. And here you define, the customer defines that this shape can be used in beams and in walls.
And walls, okay.
Or in footing, whatever he likes. Okay. Here in calculations, you need to add all parameters, A, L1, L2, etc. You can add predefined default values if you want. And below here, you need to have one line, len. This is very important. Please take a note about that. And here you can add a description if you want, but the main thing is that you need to add the formula that calculates the length of this thing. So you have L1 plus L2, etc., plus 2 times A, because we have something here, A, etc. Okay. So let me show you how you can.
How did you prepare the shape?
I will show you right now.
Okay,
so
okay.
You can add here more parameters. It's L5, for example. Okay, whatever, with 0.4 length. Okay, so let's create a new one. I will delete that. And I added those those parameters, and I want to create a shape that will have 5 sides and twice the A at the end. Okay, so here I need to adjust my formula to add L5. Okay.
Of course.
So I will create a shape. I use this tool, create a polyline. Okay, so I begin from here. I go this way, for example. You have polar track lock, you can end that. Okay, then let's move to, I will create something that is not correct, something stupid, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Of course, it's just that we play with that now. Okay. How many I have added? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's say this is the one. Okay, there isn't such a thing, but anyway. Okay, now you need to define what side is linked with what parameter. So you take this tool, parameters to side, you put A here, you select, for example, L1 for this, L2 for this, L3 for this, whatever you want. It's straightforward. L4 and L5. Actually, I prefer that customers, if they want to create something similar to our library, to keep the same dimensions, because this one is very small now, so it won't be, it will be different from the main library. So it's better to keep the same, let's say, the same size. but it's their choice, okay? And the last one will be A here, okay? So now I'm ready with this new shape that will be defined as RVM, whatever. You can have a code or whatever you want. Okay, save and close. It goes up here and you see it up here. Okay.
Okay.
You can export data, only that, in order to send them to somebody, or if you create some more, you can export stuff. I think that if you filter here, only those that are shown are exported. So if you say here, I want to filter that and have a text filter begins with, for example,
Okay.
B, okay, which B is for beams. You see only those that are for B. So if I export, I will export only the beams, or if you put something, you can filter also with the description, etc. Okay.
Yes.
You see the filter. These filters apply to all the software here on all tables. You know that. Okay. So, okay. We finished with the creation of the new.
And I see that we can copy and modify. Yes. We can create
You can change
the
whatever
new
you
one
want
on the basic of some previous one.
Yes, you can duplicate
and modify. Okay.
Okay. Or export and re-import. You know, you remember the import export from the library.
Yes, of course.
If you export, you see you have all that stuff. You can say shapes. There are two options. This export all shapes. From here, you can export part of the list using the filters. Okay, it's on purpose that, because probably, for example, Ronen, if at last he creates the new Hebrew library, he can export that and you can send it to me and I can import that only for the Hebrew language, etc. Because actually the language that the library is shown depends on the system. So if we will have a new, let's say, shapes in Hebrew, customers will get, when they install for the first time the software, they will get Hebrew shapes.
By default.
But of course, they can export and import, etc.